Our goal of the division is to create 5-star college graduates. So, we want to create and work with students when they go through our Cutco Through College program, that they're graduating with more job offers and better job offers than anyone else that they're graduating with. And they are 5-star college recruits coming out of graduation. So whether that be for, 2 5-star type opportunities here with Cutco, or beyond Cutco, getting a chance to be someone that is highly sought after, highly recruited, someone that has, like I said, one of our goals is to help people save $100,000 in their savings before they graduate college. We've been able to do that for a lot of our students. Why the Leadership Academy? And this is going to be a quick review. I think if you were at SE2, this is a lot of stuff that our fellow division leader, Jeff Gamboa, got a chance to go over in his message. But why the Leadership Academy? Well, first off, what I want to tell you all is that the Leadership Academy, again, it's not something that is exclusive to Cutco. We are not the only company, nor do we claim to be the only company that has some sort of leadership training program or leadership academy. If you go to just about anywhere, you can go, take classes at the Harvard Business School. But while you're there, they have an opportunity for their top students to join what they call a leadership academy. And it's a group that you can apply for. So on top of the coursework, you can really be getting those connections and develop your leadership opportunity. If you go to Amazon and Nike, if you go to McDonald's, Apple, Google, Facebook, all these companies have their version of some sort of leadership or corporate growth training. That doesn't make us unique. What makes us unique is the fact that we work with we work with 17 to 24-year-olds. What makes us unique is that we're the #1 college recruiting company in the nation. And so we impact people in a time where they need it the most. In a time where I'd say it is the most formidable growth periods of a person's life is that 17 to 24-year-olds range. And it really does shape and affect the trajectory of people in their lives well beyond TLA and beyond that age group. Why TLA? Because this generation that we work with has been labeled quite a few things, but more importantly than me, I love working with young people. I love working with our students, and it's a generation of why not. It's a generation that asks the questions, and I believe it is the goal and responsibility of a company to adapt and work to the people and not try to get the people to adapt to the company and the corporate environment. Why the Leadership Academy? Because there's quite a big need for students to develop skills. This is from almost 10 to 15 years ago is when this article was published, and it said 2 out of 5 college students graduate with a job out of college. So less than 40% of students that graduate with a college university degree, 4 years of schooling and funding, and only 40% have a job when they graduate from school. The average student debt is over $20,000 with an average salary of $27,000. More important than that, 65% of those students that graduate have at least a 3.0 GPA and at least one internship experience on their resume. So when I hear these things and students talk about good grades and getting an internship, I say, hey, that's great. And that's what you need to do to be in the top 50%. That's just what most people do, top 65%. And even then, 2 out of 5 students graduate with a job offer out of college. It takes the average student 8 months to find a job after college graduation, and over 50% of college students move back home with mom and dad after graduating from college. So there's more of a need than ever. This is, 10 to 15 years ago. I'm not talking about 2020 COVID and years, which is now record unemployment rates. And more importantly than the unemployment rate to the country, it's even worse of an environment for students because the reality is that when companies are laying people off, when they are struggling to employ people, the first people that they're going to protect is the people that have been there for 10, 15, 20 years. And the first people that are going to take the hit are new job trainees, new people that are looking and seeking out work, and they're not going to hire and take on more people. And I know this market's only getting more and more competitive than ever before. In 2013, the Wall Street Journal profiled us out of all the companies that they could have done a profiling on. They talked about us as the golden standard for students that are looking for entrepreneurial skill set and work. The college students have sold Cutco are shortening the learning process on their way to becoming entrepreneurs, whether they stay with Vector or move on with their careers. And that was in 2013, over 7 years ago. And I think it is only more true today than it ever was in the past. This is the same reason we were awarded DECA's Company of the Year back in 2017 from our work that we do with students, the way that we impact them in college and beyond college graduation. Jeff also mentioned, and I think a lot of you guys heard from him at SE2, John Broman, who gave a great talk to wrap our SE2 message up. He interviewed and sat down with the founder of Priceline.com, which is the largest, basically airfare booking company in the world. And when he sat down with him, he talked about 2 different things that kind of came out of that conversation. He wrote them in this article, which you can check out on the frontrowfactor.com. But he talked about, hey, this CEO that he sat down with from Priceline had a couple different things, Jeff Hoffman, that really separated him, and he felt like separated most successful people. And that is their ability to solve problems. Are you the thermometer? Or are you the thermostat? Are you someone that just reports problems? Or are you someone that actually is able to change them and solve problems that are meaningful and helping people? The other thing that successful people are good at doing is partnering up with other people, finding other like-minded people. And I recorded a podcast on this not too long ago and said, hey, there is no such thing as self-made success. Because anyone that is self-made, anyone that has gotten to where they've gotten there with the help of other people. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, the question is, who are you spending time with? And this is something that if you get into TLA, you will see all year round, every single day. And that's your COI, #COI, or circles of influence. Do you have 3 people that you're learning from three people that you're learning with, and three people that you're teaching for. And I think another huge value of getting into TLA and being a part of that group is you're just surrounded by other great people. You have access to mentors and leaders and people that are a couple years ahead of you, and oftentimes the trajectory of where maybe you want to be. More importantly, you're surrounded by a good group of people that are like-minded. You know, I know a lot of us have friends and things like that too, but are they on the exact same trajectory of where you want to be? Are their lives headed into the same direction? Doesn't mean you can't be friends with those people, but it does mean you should probably get around people that are actively seeking out and pursuing some of the same goals that you have, and have a similar trajectory and aspirations to create that best version of themselves. And I think that's clearly something that you find in TLA. I think it's something that you probably already found quite a bit in your respective offices, but it's another level, another power when we're really bringing the creme de la creme and the top people in every single district and branch organization into our Leadership Academy leadership program. And, you know, why TLA? Because, well, skills are quickly becoming more important than degrees. And I think, you know, the more and more, I think that's only becoming more and more prevalent over the past 5-6 years, but, you know, companies are really looking, and even, you know, med school, grad school programs, like people are looking for less about degrees and the rankings of the schools that you went to, which is really how we've operated for the past 20, 30, 40 years. And it's moving in a direction of where companies, employers are not just looking at your major and your degree in the school you graduated from, but the quality of skills that you had, your personal growth, your aptitude for the position, to find great careers out of college. And I would argue really any careers. You know, skills are becoming more important than degrees in a lot of different areas. I think some of you all know, and I just had it on here, Trump signed an executive order earlier on this year that said, and this is not across the country, but this does set precedent of what the United States government is doing, is saying, hey, we're not going to be hiring people based off their college degrees anymore, because we don't really think it's fitting and it doesn't help us find the best candidates. We're going to hire people based off of merit, and based off of the skills that they actually have in the position that we are looking for. And so I think it's creating options via skills. When you have a skill set, you become more marketable regardless of what it is that you want to do long term. And the skills that people need, USA Today wrote an article. They said the 5 skills college students need to get a job: people skills, right? And social capital, having a network, circles of influence, problem solving skills, which we talked about, oral communication, leadership, and written communication. And that is the skill set that we are really giving to people. This is the skill set that doesn't mean matter what you do. These are the skills that allow people to become highly successful in what it is they do and actually go out there and impact their communities, their vacations, and their friends and families in the way that they so passionately envision for themselves. And we're working with the most influential group in America. I firmly believe that, you know, this group of, you know, ages of 17 to 24 years old. And obviously we have some people that are not in that range, but in generally speaking, these are our future doctors. These are our future educators and teachers. These are our future lawyers. These are our future engineers. These are our future businessmen and women, entrepreneurs. And they're coming out of this group. And I think it's more important that this group, in a time, as we've clearly seen the debacle that is 2020, the world needs leadership now more than ever before. And I think it's important that we start equipping our young people, because it's very clear to see what happens when young people are not equipped with those skills and the lack of leadership that we have currently. I want you guys to be able to get skills and gain them. And when we talk about in TLA, I think sometimes these skills are the things that you don't always learn in school. You know, they're not always the things that can be taught in classroom. In fact, I would argue skills can't be taught in school for the most part. You know, there's a difference between knowledge, which is very, very valuable. You know, knowing things and knowledge and learning, I think, is really, really beneficial, but it's different than skills. Knowledge is different than skills. Skills is experience driven. It is something that you actually have to work for. It doesn't matter how many tapes and videos I've watched on playing the game of football. If I'm not actually going out there and practicing the sport, it doesn't mean I have skills. I might have knowledge, but not necessarily the skills on how to do so, because skills is something that you get through actual experience. And that's why I think part of our TLA lessons that we teach is so valuable, because versus us just sitting here and talking to you about leadership, you have an opportunity and avenue to go out there and actually practice leadership, versus us talking about public speaking and skill set and how to win a room and sales and networking. Like, you're getting an avenue to take what you're learning and actually put it into practice. And you take that out of, you know, selling Cutco and selling knives, and you bring it to another organization or business or whatever it is that you're doing. The skills are consistent. The medium, the product, all that stuff might change, but the skills go with you from one to another. So the 3 skills that we focus on, 3 areas or categories in TLA, is personal, professional, and financial skills. Personal skills, because, you know, no employer is just interested in having a good student. I hear that all the time, like, well, Andrew, I just really want to focus on school and just get good grades and set that up, use that to set myself up for my career. And that's great. I think good grades are important. But the reality is that 3.3 versus a 3.8 to an employer is not that much bigger of a difference. You know, I would always, every single day, take it for someone that's a 3.3 student, right? But they were the president of their class, or they were a student athlete, or the captain of their team, or they've done something that involves some sort of significant experience in leadership. Because the reality is that you will never be good at anything doing just one thing. You know, if you want to learn how to be a great husband, a great mom, a great business owner, a great father, daughter, son, whatever you want to do, I think just helping you out personally in life and helping you become the best version of yourself is the first thing that we really like to focus on. That's more the personal development aspect. The professional development aspect of learning skills, like learning the skills of communication skills, right? Virtual, Zoom, etiquette, how to connect with people in a public setting, public speaking to a group of 400, 500 people, as well as virtually one-on-one. How to build a strong connection with someone quickly, how to manage your own time, how to make a professional phone call. These are the type of skills that we're teaching you, how to build your resume, how to develop tenure, how to set yourself up for advancement, how to have conversations with your boss. Like, these are all types of things that I think are going to be helpful no matter what type of corporate or business environment that you go into in the future, or it doesn't even have to be anything in business. I think it can be any type of organization. The last skills are financial skills. So a lot of y'all have started to learn the first financial skill, which is how to make a lot of money. Learning how to make money. Like, again, money's not the most important thing, but it is what fuels and drives the rest of the world. It's really hard to impact and do anything significant without having that money. So, also money is the number one factor in why businesses fail. It's the number one factor in why marriages fail. It's the lack thereof of money, or having money and not knowing how to manage it, or having disagreements on it, right? So how to manage your money, meaning how to make the money, how to save the money, how to spend the money and invest the money, and how to give the money away, right? Those are the four, money categories or buckets that I typically talk about. If you're good with money when it's small, you'll be good with money when it's when you have more money later on. And that's something I always tell people, is that, if you can't learn how to manage your money when you have $5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand, you're a student, you're never going to learn how to manage your money when you have $100 grand or $1 million later on, in life. And so the primary things that we typically teach inside of TLA is how to manage your money, how to manage your time, energy, others, and yourself. So hopefully, maybe you have some light bulbs here, and I hope that as we go through this process, maybe you have that aha, okay, or that wow, I could do this for longer than summer, or wow, that was something that really hit me hard, or wow, that's something that really stuck out to me. And when you have those light bulb moments, I really want you to be able to share them as we go through our process here. Cutco Through College is our program for students that have decided that they're going to use this as a vehicle for them to create and make the money that they want to make and develop the skills that they want to make throughout their college years. It's not really a commitment for anything beyond college, but it's basically a commitment saying, hey, I want to use this for the next 2 or 3 years as the vehicle that I'm going to use. There's a lot of other jobs you can do out there. There's a lot of other clubs and organizations that you can join, but recognizing the opportunity, it's like, hey, I could really stow away a lot of money. I could save $100 grand before I graduate from college, but just do this for a couple of years. And more importantly, I'm going to be developing the skills that are going to make me more marketable beyond my college years. And I think if you want to get some more information on that, check out Dan Cassetta's podcast. And it's changinglivespodcast.com. So you can check that out. And Jeff Gambo did a phenomenal interview talking about our Cutco Through College program. The question that I always ask, and that I think Jeff shared, this is actually from, I think Dan Cassetta posted this on Facebook a little bit a while ago. He's actually the region manager for our Western region, which oversees the West Coast of the country. He asked a question of, hey, what's better? Graduating and you work for 30, 40, 50 years to make 6 figures, and 6 figures just being the quote unquote success number that I think a lot of students is like, yeah, my first job, I want to make 6 figures out of college. Great. And the reality is that doesn't happen for most people, and most people can and eventually will get there. But it may take, a while and years of building up and getting some promotions and raising that salary. What if you work 2 to 3 years, throughout your college years and help you gain the skills that will allow you to become a lot more marketable and make more money in the future. Maybe that's a light bulb for some of you all. Next steps in the process, and here's exactly what I look for in our interviewing process. Number one is overall commitment. This looks like attendance, participation, the way that you showed up during the SC2 push, the way that you communicate with your manager, the way that you communicate with me, your overall commitment to just how reliable are you, how accountable are you, how committed are you? I think that's something we look at. My personal evaluation. So this is where all those texts and communication and getting on my radar comes into play. I've been paying attention this entire summer. And I'll also be paying attention pretty closely what happens in the next week and a half, who's standing up, who's stepping out, and who's seeking to get noticed and be noticed. My personal evaluation, I also talk to each and every single one of your managers. This is what I talked about at the end of SC2, is that, hey, everything is an interview. You're going to have a 20-minute interview with me, but it's only 20 minutes. And the reason is because half the interview is already done. Half the interview has been taking place this entire summer. And everything is always an interview. The way that you show up to the conferences, the way that you show up to events, the way that you lead and impact the other people in your group chats, the way that you communicate with your managers. I speak to each and every single one of them, typically before I sit down with you. So I have a good idea of what to expect based off of their opinion, their recommendation to me. So make sure you're still showing up for them just as much as the same way that you would show up to me in our interview. Last couple of things I look for is financial responsibility. The company, if you're a branch manager, is giving you money out of their pocket. They're also carving out a territory for you as a branch manager. We only have so many spots and so many locations. And so it's important that we give the best, most well-trained and highest prepared people the best opportunities. And so it's important that you're financially responsible. I don't think the company wants to give money out of their pocket, fund an opportunity, carve out a market for someone that is not fiscally responsible with their money. So the way that we do that here is by looking at your withholdings account. How much money do you have saved? If you don't have a withholdings account set up, that is basically an account that you can set up where a certain portion of your paychecks is taken and put away into a savings account with the company that you can have and you can use. You have 100% access to it, so your money can be taken out anytime, but it does 2 things. Number one, money that you don't see, you don't spend, and that's why one of the first TLA money management lessons that will teach you is having some sort of forced withholdings where a certain portion of your paycheck is automatically being saved and taken away. The second thing that allows us to do is that you can now use that to save up for a specific investment opportunity, a specific purchase that you want to, or you can use that as your manager startup account that you'll use going into the summer as a branch manager. And that number it allows us as a company and gives me as a division manager a chance to see like how much do you really have saved, how much you have put away, and how well are you at saving your money and keeping money into a savings or withholdings account there too. So if you haven't set one of those up yet, highly recommend talk to your manager as soon as possible. Make sure you get signed up for that here. Last few thoughts that I have and next steps and what we look for, just summer CPO. I can't hear what you're saying until I see what you're selling. So making statements. I think a lot of you are pretty on the edge of a scholarship run. And I think finishing off these last couple of weeks is going to be more important than ever before. Making sure you're over that 10K hub, making sure that you have consistency. So not just peak sales performance, but ACE weekly, consistency, week in, week out, and be able to have the same results over and over and over again. So I'm looking at your past sales performance, and I'm also looking at your future performance. And I think both of them are going to be merited and considered as we have our TLA interviews in our process.